Welcome to the fourth video in the Harvey Mudd College Linux tutorial series. This video will teach you command line syntax as well as some useful commands. Refer to the Unix Linux command line cheat sheet for a more thorough list of common commands. In general, the syntax for a command on the command line is command, options, arguments, with a space between the command and its options, and between the options and the arguments. Put a dash before the options, and if you are using multiple options, type them next to each other without spaces in any order. Lastly, if your command has multiple arguments, separate each argument with a space. Let's look at some examples on Knuth. I have already logged in via SSH and navigated to my home directory. This is a command, echo, followed by a space and an argument, hello world. This is a command, ls, with no options and no arguments. ls-l, this is a command, ls, with an option, l for long, that tells the computer to print more info when running the command ls. This is the command ls with two options, L and capital R. -R means list recursively through all subdirectories. Notice that when I run this command, there's no space between the L and the R, and that they are both in the option position. ls-rl gives the same output as ls-lr. This is an example of running the command ls with one argument, /clinic. This runs the command ls on the clinic directory. And here's an example of a command, ls, with two arguments, /clinic and /user. This runs ls on both directories. Notice that the arguments are separated by a single space. And lastly, we can put arguments and options together to run this example. ls is here running with the option -l for long and with two arguments, clinic and user. I'm now going to talk about a few other features of text on the command line that you may want to know. First of all, text is case sensitive. The shell will get confused if you try to type the command echo with a capital E, for example. Secondly, whitespace and slashes are delimiting on the command line. If you need to refer to something that has slashes or spaces in its name, precede each slash or space with a \/ character, or enclose the whole thing in quotation marks. You can, in general, use a \ to escape special characters on the command line. Let's say I wanted to make a directory called testdir. If I type the command like so, I get two directories, because the space separates the phrase testdir into two arguments. But if I use quotation marks or \, I get the desired result, one directory called testdir. Another good thing to know is that names in all caps preceded by a $sign are system variables. When you echo a system variable on the command line, like shell, the command returns the value of the variable, as opposed to the text shell. Here are a few shortcuts that might also prove useful. First of all, the command line supports tab completion. That means if you press the tab key, the shell will automatically fill in as much text as possible for you. For instance, if I want to change my directory to desktop, I can type DE and then tab, and the rest will be filled in, because there's only one directory in my home directory that starts with DE. I can also repeat commands by pressing the up arrow. If I press the up arrow multiple times, I get a shortcut to even earlier commands. If you need to move within the text on a line, or within a line, use the left and right arrow keys. If a command is taking too long to run, and you want to abort, press Ctrl-C. The most important command to know is man. Man stands for manual, and man allows you to look up instructions on how to use any other command. Let's look up ls as an example. As you can see, the manual page for ls includes the command name, the command function, a detailed description, all the possible options and their meanings, and notes. Sometimes the manual page will also include examples on how to use it. Man is your fastest source of help for anything having to do with the command line. And that's about it for command line syntax. This concludes the 4th video in the Linux tutorial.